Recording in progress. And getting her and everything. So I really didn't reach out to.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Right over. This is a lot.
It's just light reading.
Like all the budgets.
So it really is.
That's little.
Wait till March.
All that.
But yes, yes, it really is. And mom is excited. Absolutely, yeah.
Those charters. Roll that.
All right, 6 o'clock, so we'll call the regular meeting to order. Changes to the agenda at all?
No.
Take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Go through the consent items. If anybody had any questions on those. So the DMAC, does that go like at the end of the semester?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, we have a lot of kids taking the courses are more. Certainly, the cost savings if we provide them accounts too.
Any other questions on the consent items at all?
Hmm.
Take motion to approve the consent items.
So moved. Second.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Consent items are approved. Correspondence.
Nope.
Public forum.
Two of us here, I wasn't sure where you just started. I wanted to briefly bring up a topic I brought up before because I have a reason for doing that. I mentioned before about what we're doing at the University of Maryland. Let me preface this by saying I've been a really early riser for most of my life, even when I was in school doing exercises in the morning because of scoliosis. You just have to add to those for strengthening. So I'm up early in the morning watching news, and I'm seeing a lot of ads the last month, not just for University of Maryland and the things they're doing with their program, and that includes trying to figure out how to effectively teach the skills for using AI in addition to the concepts across each of their disciplines, those courses. But there are other ads that are focused on skill and mental development in individuals for everyday life applications, which is another focus of what it is that we're doing. And I have brought that up before. Well, now that all of the programs for us have been, the ones I teach have been done, they're still working on some of the higher level ones, so that we have everyday real life applications of the concepts to help the students relate to the concepts in their everyday lives and look at them from a variety of ways, as well as learning how to use skill sets, just like when they started using computers and computer programs and trying to figure out how to effectively use them. Well, AI is the same thing. And they're going to be expanding that. I had a Zoom meeting scheduled last Thursday. I have 2 scheduled for tomorrow. Those are going to be expanding. Some of them are university-wide for generalities and what they're trying to focus on to help with support of the students to develop skill sets for their everyday lives as well as work environment. But some of them are also departmental related. So I've got one of each tomorrow. So I'll be on the computer quite a bit, but that's coming up increasingly as we help students learn how to apply them. What I brought you last time were a few of the printouts of some of the students in my fall class. One of them was a high school student who actually figured this out and was very glad. Okay, my reason for bringing this up again now is that I was really glad last week when Clay was giving his principal report that you included something I'd been asking about earlier, and I realized it took the whole semester to get started, but these students are trying to help that we're behind and giving us kind of an update on that. Somewhere down the road here, because as you move into spring, I realize you're looking at what you're going to do for next year. If somebody, whether it's in a principal's report, a superintendent's report, a separate item maybe in the agenda, if someone can let us know, what's the school doing? We don't hear anything about it. I don't see anything in any of the newsletters. Is the school addressing this? Because some states are addressing it with their schools, and I know an increasing number of higher level education is doing this. What's Baxter doing? It could be very helpful to have an update on it. So, yeah, sure.
Thanks, Sue.
Sure. In the night, originally I was gonna come and just observe, but something happened yesterday that made me, kind of sent me over the edge to want to speak. So how many of you have a boy child? Okay. How many of you have a boy child with disabilities? So one thing I will say that that's a blessing that you don't have children with disabilities. But for all of us in this room, if we live long enough, we will all become disabled in our lifetime. And that is a matter of fact. If you don't have a disabled person in your family, you don't have a disabled child, disabled parent, sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, you yourself and I myself, as we age, will all become disabled. I have 2 disabled children. They both have autism. One of them has profound autism, level 3. The other one has level 1 autism. The one who has level 1 autism is still in school here. His needs are not being met adequately. Yesterday, he was sent home in these pants. His pants that I packed for him in the morning, his extra pants, were still in his backpack, and they were gender appropriate pants. When I got him off the bus yesterday, he was sobbing. He could not walk inside the house. He collapsed in the snow, and he begged me to just pick him up and take him in and take these pants off of him. And I asked him if he had wanted them put on him, and he said no. And I asked him, if he could tell me why, and he was not able to tell me why. He said, just please take me in and change me. And this is just a small thing maybe, but it's a symptom of a larger problem. And the larger problem is that the high level of skill that is needed to work with him, and especially work with his twin, who is now in all-day ABA therapy in Ankeny, with me taking 2 hours of FMLA every day to drive him back and forth, is not available currently in this school. It's available in Marshalltown from the actual ABA therapy center that my kids go to. We have gone through since, I don't know, May, June, July, August, back and forth between me, superintendent, school of special education director of the Department of Education, attorneys that this district has paid for in some kind of way to fight not having appropriate services in the school that were already authorized by my kids' insurance, that were paid for not through taxpayer dollars from this district, and that was cut out from under our feet the day before school started. Now we've gone through all of this. I have dragged my kids back and forth for assessment after assessment. And today I get the report, the independent educational evaluation as part of our mediation agreement. And guess what it says? Exactly what we started off in the beginning, that my child, who I am now having to take out of this community, out of this county every single day as a hardship to our entire family, and taking him out of an integrated setting in his community where he lives, where he has friends, where we pay taxes, where we own a home. This report says that he needs ABA therapy in all settings to be successful. I want to ask this board to consider what you want the direction for this community to be for kids with profound disabilities, because my family won't be the only one. Autism is on the rise. We don't know the reasons why. I can tell you I did not take Tylenol when I was pregnant. I have medical documentation of that, but we don't know the reason why, but the kids didn't ask for it.
If you could pass this along, I mean, we got a time limit.
Yep, will do. I invite all, I'm gonna give you a copy because she sent me 3 copies. I'm assuming that one of them was meant for you guys and one for the AA and one for me. And this is my husband, Chris. I would invite all of you to read this and search your hearts and think about, what do you want this community to represent for families like ours who have kids with disabilities and other families? There You have 12% population in this school with IEPs. We're not the only ones. Do you want families to feel like they have to open and enroll their kids out of this community when they live here and built a home here and own land here? Or do you want to be groundbreaking and use their insurance to provide what they need in the school setting? What do you want to represent to people like us?
Can you just pass that along then?
I will.
And we'll, I'm sure we'll
Yep.
look into it, and everything else, but we need to keep moving on here, so. Thank you though.
Yep. Would you like to say anything?
No, I'm sure you probably got it all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go into principals reports.
Let you go.
You want it? Share a little bit about, what's going on in elementary. The Giving Tree we've done for the last many years. And this year we were able to help 20 families with the Giving Tree. Those are coming in, every single day. Just an opportunity for us to make sure that our elementary families have exactly what they need during the holiday season. So just a great thing that we put together to try and support everybody that would need it around the holiday season. That's been really great. Jill Halter has started our student leadership team this year. This is brand new. That student leadership team looks and handles now some of our assembly planning. And they also do an initiative each 6-week cycle to try and better our school in some way, shape, or form. So the first time around the 6-week cycle, they came up with ideas to help our playground or to enhance it, different linings or a more foursquare game. So just some ideas that they'll bring to me and to us and decide what we want to be able to do or how we can expand or enhance that playground. This particular month, they decided to do a food drive and they collected cans and non-perishable items over the last month that we then took up to the food bank. So just some cool things that are happening with our student leadership team that Jill is driving. She's also doing some letter writing and guidance class that we'll share to Blank Children's Hospital during the holiday season, just to provide them with notes of encouragement or whatever over the holiday season. So just some cool things that are happening with our students in the elementary and trying to give back during that holiday season. Our music concert is Monday, and this time around we're doing something a little bit different by putting it all in one evening. So we'll have elementary followed by middle school followed by high school all in one night. We'll see how that all goes. Thanks to Allison for being flexible and trying to make that all in one night, because as we all know, gym space during this time of season is really hard to find. I'm excited to see what comes of it and how that all goes, and I know that she'll put together a great concert. As far as some things we've done BLT wide, I've mentioned in the past our Forefront data system. It's our software that we use to collect our assessment data and then use that to make some decisions. That data will give us real-time results and data to exactly what students are missing on assessments. We can see what questions are being missed, and then to kind of go into depth on why they maybe missed that type of question, if that question was valid and reliable. Just ask some questions of our team to see, how can we better our instruction inside the classroom. So trying to use the data that we have and the assessments that we use to drive our instruction, to make our instruction better, but also to make sure the kids have exactly what they need every single day. And then last month we did bring in Dennis Matthew for an author visit, which was a fun little hour of some singing and him walking us through what it is and the author process and how a book gets made, and had a book reading. And so it was a little bit of fun, but also some insight on that writing portion and how that came to be and how he came to be. So fun little visit from him, and our kids seem to enjoy it. So some of those things that are happening around the elementary.
Thanks, Zach. So in the secondary end, I just wanted to give a couple quick follow-ups to the different pathways, different programs that you all approved, most of you approved in July. The work experience programming that we had, the alternatives pathway program. Work experience, we currently have 9 students in that. They are conducting their presentations and final papers to Mr. D and I, presenting them to us this week. The first couple that have gone, and it's been outstanding. I mean, you can truly feel and see the passion that these students have, because these are students that I would say in the past, that type of like formatting a 4-page final paper and a 15+ slide show presentation would not be something that would be up their alley, but they were extremely locked in and engaged with this. So I look forward to the rest of those coming through. We currently have 0 students enrolled in the Alternative Pathways program. I know that was a question that we talked about a little bit more in depth in July, and I just wanted to follow up. We don't have anybody currently in that type of program. Really don't really have anybody on the horizon as of this point either. DMAC programs will again be offering welding starting in the fall. In late July, we found out we had three students, I believe, enrolled in the welding program at the Newton campus. They had to cancel it last minute because they had a resignation of a staff member there. So they have rehired someone. They will begin offering the welding program starting in the fall. We're very excited about that. We have notified our students of that, and there's already been a couple that have expressed serious interest in doing that type of program. We did take the 10th graders to DMAC Newton campus recently. That's all 10th graders. Mr. D and I took them down there, basically showed them all the programs, career academy programs that they have to offer. In February, we will be taking the students to the DMAC Ankeny campus and ISU in the same day. With 10th graders, we try to do a 4-year private school, 4-year public school, and then the variety of DMAC. And actually, we go to Marshalltown as well, so a couple different 2-year type programs as well, just to give our students exposure to those types of things. Obviously, we have a variety of different businesses coming to different classes. Speaking along this line, the Army National Guard will be here tomorrow and Friday, teaming up with Mr. Dalma and his health force to offer CPR. Nurse Sarah's certified to teach CPR as well, so she's been involved with that. We're including the National Guard just because they have a lot more technological, like the types of dummies, and they have like the simulations that they can give are just so real. I've seen some of it. It's kind of amazing what you actually think you're kind of helping and assisting a real person. Deputy Josh and I have talked recently about setting up some sort of either safety day or safety week or something like that, and bringing in a variety of different, helping students make positive choices, right? So some demonstrations, some work around texting while driving. There's a seatbelt simulation thing that Josh knew about. I think that was with the Iowa State Patrol that can help. I don't know, just a lot of different things he was throwing ideas about. I was very excited about a drunk goggles simulation type thing, just to make sure we're giving our students information that they need. Miss Williams and I have been kind of backpedaling a little bit to welding. Miss Williams, ag teacher, and I have been, she's been incorporating a lot more welding into her power and ag mechanics class due to the fact that we haven't been able to get students enrolled and offer welding through DMAC this year. So she's been doing a lot more of that. I know that's had several of our students really fired up. They've been able to work on some projects out there, which is great stuff. Our student council did a service project last week. They wrote Christmas cards to residents at 2 local nursing homes. That was very well received. So got some really positive feedback about that I wanted to share. And one last thing, Mr. D and I did a Zoom interview with a Spanish candidate today. We're going to have that person on campus here January 8th for an in-person interview. Amazing. I mean, if we could get this person locked in, I don't know, I should win some sort of award or something, but they actually applied themselves, so I have nothing to do with it, but I'm just very excited about that, so wanted to share that as well.
You want to expound upon the reason for the application?
Yeah.
As we'll be sending a survey out about the 40-week and.
Yes, that was the biggest reason. Him and his wife kind of have a unique situation with one of their children, really need a little bit more flexibility in his schedule, and believe that a 4 days to a week can provide that. As many years of teaching, I mean, when we got off the Zoom, Mr. D actually looked at me, just gave me a fist bump and said, "How do we lock this one in?" I mean, this is fantastic. So, yeah, the 4-day week was the drawing card for that person to apply. So just wanted to throw that out as well.
So as far as the welding goes, like out here,
Mhm.
Williams, is that just kind of like a portion of a?
It's part of the, yeah, so she offered.
DMAC would be a full on.
Correct. And if they went, so actually, when we went down to DMAC that day, I saw a senior that had graduated that is still part of the 2-year program down there. Obviously, it's all paid for by themselves now, but they'll really get the welding certification at DMAC in the future. This is just it's a unit that she's doing within her power and ag mechanics class. Yeah. Yep.
Questions there? Yeah, more than one person choking. Thanks, guys.
You bet.
On to a board member resignation.
Okay, well, unfortunately, as Ashley's notified you of, she's moved out of district, so while you're not required to approve her resignation, typically it's customary to accept the resignation as a board. And then also discuss what the process looks like to fill the vacancy. So the process recommendation would be an appointment, so the board would appoint someone to fulfill the rest of Ashley's term. They would then be up for reelection when her term is up. There is a time period of 14 days that once we publish public notice, which I think was done today, tomorrow, sorry, publish public notice tomorrow, someone can petition for a special election. They would need either 100 signers or 30% of the total voters in the previous election. So we wait 14 days to see if there's a petition for a special election. If there is, then we will have a special election on the ballot. Do we know when? In March?
The county auditor has 45 days after we notify them to set it. But they'll need 183 actual signatures on the petition.
If no petition is filed with signatures, then the board begins the process of appointment. Iowa code doesn't spell out any specific process for board appointment. It's truly up to the board themselves. Typically, the recommendation would be anybody interested would contact Julie to tell them that they are interested. From there, you know, your process could look like, I don't want to call it an application, but some sort of a questionnaire sheet for those people to fill out or an interview process. And then you can make the determination, do you want to just create a committee of two to go through those and appoint and recommend to the full board who you'd like to appoint for the remainder of Ashley's term.
Because we don't have two, that way it's not a quorum.
Yeah.
It'll just be a committee form.
And with 30 days. So within this too, we would move our January meeting up a week to stay within the 30 days to fill it.
So, yeah, as far as appointment goes, I think a good way to do it is, let's say, if then those 14 days, so basically you got 16 days to kind of, if you're gonna have an appointment, have somebody fill out a questionnaire, a paragraph saying why would you want to be on the board? So that would leave the committee 16 days basically to come up with a decision and kind of recommend to the full board of.
I do have some questions available if you wanted to do, so then if there's more than one, then you can compare apples to apples. Maybe 4 or 5 questions.
So yeah, it's something wouldn't have to be a five page
No.
essay, anything like that
No.
for high school final, but I think it'd be just good to have an idea of, you know, their thoughts and what they would see for the school.
So if someone gets the amount of signatures they need, but there's no one running against them.
Well, so they wouldn't, if they get the amount of signatures they need, all that means is that we will have a special election. They would still have to file paperwork to be on the ballot for the special election. Anybody still could file that paperwork.
So then you're basically just going through the whole election
Process over again.
Which there is a cost to
Yep,
that
there's
as
a
well,
cost.
right?
Yep.
To us,
Mhm.
as far as a special election.
Thoughts on that process or that process of appointment or?
So it's public tomorrow, 18th. It's like on the 1st would be the 14 days, right? Trying to think of a timeline.
First is the 14th day.
The 1st is.
So then you make your 2-person committee like on Monday the 5th,
Yeah,
and then that give you a day shy of 2 weeks before the 14th to go through everything. I'm good with the appointment. Is that what we're asking?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
good doing about it that way if that's what we want to do.
Okay, so you want those documents due back to me by the 5th then?
Yeah, because the 2nd is a Friday.
Is a Friday.
So, I don't
Plus,
know.
we're talking about New
I was
Year's.
gonna say, I don't know if people would be traveling, you know, on
The
that
5th is
week.
perfectly
So
fine
Monday
with
the
me.
5th,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's an extra, it's actually 15 days, so Merry Christmas, you get an extra day.
So that'd be paperwork for either the petition for an election or paperwork to,
For the
Be
appointment,
considered for appointment.
to be considered for appointment.
Okay. I'm good with having paperwork in by the 5th myself.
Okay, but the petition has to be in by the first.
Petition has to be in by the first. That's not our deadline.
I
That's,
just want to make sure that's
Yep.
clear.
And does it, in the posting for this, it's in the paper, does it tell them how many signatures they need? Or they just have to figure that out, or?
they have to contact me,
Yeah.
and it says that in the posting that they have to contact me.
Oh, okay,
And then I'll walk them through that process.
okay.
The publishing is really just, a legal publishing. It's cookie cutter template that comes straight from the Code of Iowa that we have to put, but it, tells that it's 14 days from the publishing is the deadline and that they have to contact me.
And does that have to be posted around town too, like at the post office or?
It just has to be posted in our newspaper of record, which is the Jasper County Tribune.
Just-
But we'll post it tomorrow also on social media
Okay.
and the Code of Iowa terminology will be on there. And then I'll give it a little narrative of
Well, I mean, they go-
what to do and
That way I think you're just covering all bases in
Yeah.
the social media driven world that we're in now.
yeah.
Okay.
Motion to accept the resignation.
we want to make.
I would stay on if I was letting you.
Well, I appreciate you the
Yeah.
last couple of years here.
You guys feel terrible, sorry.
It's life. Life goes on. You gotta do what's best for you too, so. Cause yeah, I guess that's the other point, that to finish out the term, it'd be basically almost 2 years, just short of 2 years, basically. Year and 11 months, I guess. So just so people would be aware of that, let's. Yeah, I guess we'll take a motion to accept Ashley's resignation from the board.
I'll make the motion to accept Ashley Gutierrez's resignation from the board.
I can second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, Ashley, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Ashley. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thanks.
Well, we'll keep in touch with you. I guess a little bit further down the line here, we're bringing kids back into here.
Thank you too. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Ashley. Have a good night. Okay. So we got that all figured out then, right?
Yep, we're good.
14 days. Okay. Well,
Do
board
we need
policies.
to say who's gonna be this deciding?
Oh, yeah, then we probably could figure that out tonight while we're all here.
Not
Two.
Yeah. Yeah, just well,
Yes.
okay. I guess meeting, whoever.
I
I mean, it'd probably just be, I mean, if you get documents, it'd be just be emailed. and-
Yep.
As I said, I don't have a problem doing that.
Okay.
The normal working hours, I wouldn't be able to come here for something, so if we can do it electronically, I'm good to helping them out.
For sure. Good deal.
There you go, buddy.
Thank you very
Committee
much.
church days.
I could walk down the tree with a sixer. Yeah, search committee days, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. That works. Good. Anything else before we go on? Everything? Okay, we want to go with public numbers.
Yeah, so we moved assembly, obviously, to house our board policies, and we're kind of finalizing that process. So there's a document there that you'll see that they've completed the conversion. Really, what that document consists of is recoding our policies, not changing them, but recoding them to match IASB's. As we review these series of these policies, we will have some discussion on maybe some policies that need to just be redacted. They don't, I mean, they're just, it's probably well past due. They just don't, they're not relevant anymore. IASB doesn't include them in theirs, and it just cleans up that, but we will do that through the process of our normal board policy review. So really what you're approving here is just the recoding of the policies. There's no changing in board policies. It's just recoding them.
There's a lot of stuff going on there, but it's really all just for me.
Okay, so I guess I'll make a motion to, what is it?
Approve the,
Approve the coding changes to the board policy.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Seeing no policies of numbers have been updated.
I need to go out and look on that. Do we have, this got brought up at our conference here a couple weeks ago. I sat in on one of those AI things and it was brought up. Do we have an AI policy?
Not specifically, it's not required, but.
No, it's not required. So what he was saying is it's not required. You don't have to have it, but if teachers, so what the reason he brought it up is that a student got in trouble for using AI
Right.
and then sued the school district because there was no policy. Like basically, so no one's, I don't know, I'm reading between the lines, but it's
Right.
basically, hey, no one said I can't do it, you know, for your policy.
It's something we need to research and look into.
Yeah.
You and I were in.
We do have something right now in our handbook, but
Right.
we don't have anything board policy related.
Yeah,
to
this is a
it.
district attorney saying, put something in there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Don't punish the kids.
Yep, absolutely.
I know, but that's
Absolutely.
No,
No,
say
say
that,
that. No.
publicly say that.
No,
or
it's true.
Out there, hey kids, go for it.
Yeah,
But
no, I get it. I get what you mean.
no, I just thought I found that really interesting when he was so clear about that. Anyways.
Yeah, so this is really just in there for information. It's the Iowa School Performance Profile. It's been beyond last week, but the district one was actually this last week or this week. So they've added a new one. We've talked a little bit in our prior meetings about our scores at the elementary and the junior high or high school, the building level scores. Both building level scores fell in the commendable range, which is great. It's top third in the state. We're above the state average and how we perform. And what they've added now on there is a overall district level score. And it's not an average of the two buildings. It's really taking all into consideration. And so the district level score mirrors our building scores. It's commendable. So again, above the state average. But I just want to bring that to your attention since they added this new piece. Now, the district level score is just that. Sometimes you can be targeted with certain groups by building. You're not done that. That's not done by district. It just gives you a little bit more of an umbrella look at where we're at in some of those categories. Again, commendable. Like I said, it's the top third. So it's certainly something to be proud of. I know we're working to crack that next category, which is high performing. I think at the elementary, we're just about 9 points away from that. And so we're approaching those at both buildings and as a district as a whole. But that's just kind of on there just to provide you a little more information. I know we did discuss it briefly. We discussed it at the SIAC meeting with our committee there. But just to kind of inform you that there is a district level score now too.
Pieces of data, right?
All right.
Yeah. Been commendable for quite some time. So.
Yeah.
So what are they saying that we need to, like, have the most improvement on?
Well, you can delve into that. If you go down to the performance in each area, Zach, that bar will show you a number of things. It shows you where we're at. Yep. And so it shows you where we're at, and it also shows you the state average, right? The state average is the black diamond, and our scores are on the right. So if you take a look at that, one of the areas you can see post-secondary readiness index, work-based learning. One of the things we've done at the secondary already is we've got a certified work-based learning coordinator now.
Yep.
And so we'll be able to track that a little bit better and improve our scores there. Growth in math and growth in ELA are a couple of areas. But as you can see, we're pretty much above the state average in most of these. So, but there's still room, right? There's still room for us to improve.
You can kind of click on each one. It kind of breaks different groups out as well, and kind of dive a little deeper.
Yep, and if you click on the building level itself, it'll break it down by building.
Spend half a day looking at that stuff.
It's pretty, you can get as in depth as you want, because there's a lot of information there. When it talks about like the testing, just so we're clear on that, when it talks about percent proficient in math or science or ELA reading, it's talking about our scores on the ISASP, which is a single test given to 3rd through 11th graders in the spring.
All of them, or just a select?
No, all
No,
of
it's
them.
all.
Yeah. It starts in 3rd grade, ends in 11th. 3 groups, 5th, 8th, 10th, take science. They're the only ones that take science.
Yep.
So it's certainly good data. But it is predominantly snapshot data. What I mean by that is it's based off of one test given over a span of a week.
It's some test. Wow.
No, it's true.
That's why it's always, when they give the fast tests or
Yeah.
screener, it's good to have that extra data too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, does that match up with this? Was this normally low or high? It's another data point.
And a forward facing one. So you'll see this out there across the state, when they release these, you'll see news articles and things like that at times, and they can be either glowing or not.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate that we've performed well and want to continue to improve. Obviously, we'll continue to improve, but have been in the top third of the state.
Questions or comments on this?
Yeah, any later, you guys are always welcome to reach out and have conversations about those things too. Definitely have some, especially if you look at the secondary scores, you can see the growth in math and growth in English language arts are our lowest achieving areas. And we have some plans to close the gaps on some of those, but again, that could take a lot of time to talk about, but would gladly discuss any of that with any of you guys or any community members as well.
Because the elementary, we're exceeding in those, so
Agreed.
where does that fall?
Yep.
On the SBRC request.
Corey, I was gonna ask just real quick on these scores. I guess for you guys and Chris, does this ever play into like a review with a staff member? Like if we're failing in something, and it's a trend that we see, do we use these as a metric or is that not
I've
even?
never really done that. Some states, it's like your evaluation process is completely bound to student performance scores. I was not one of those states. It's definitely something that comes into the talking points. So,
Yeah.
it's like we have to make improvements.
It's another
Yeah.
piece of data.
It is another piece of data.
But it's not the only piece of data.
Correct.
Right.
That's
As
like
you
saying,
know,
if it's a area of concern, it's probably gonna show up on
correct.
throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, in a performance review as well, 100%.
Am I able to ask a question?
Well, not in the agenda part of here, so,
Oh.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, like I say, it's just good data and.
Yep.
In this case, it's a good call for Baxter. So. What else? SBRC request.
Yeah, so we can request MSA, which is a modified supplemental amount. This will be for just under 50,000. It's 47,928 for on-time funding. This is due to a slight increase in our certified enrollment. So that's a positive. We had an increase in certified enrollment, so we can request some authority there of $47,000. And the board has to do it basically through a resolution. And a roll call vote for that.
So
So
this is just authority,
it is just authority, yeah.
so we don't get a check for $47,000. We could spend that much more, basically.
Correct.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the request for the MSA.
I'm 100%, so moved.
Second.
Let's, roll call, sorry.
Yeah, Zach Morphy Rapp,
Yes.
Tyler Akins,
Yes.
Ray Hauser.
Yes.
Corey Robinson. Thank you.
Risk dropout application.
Yeah, this is similar in that we can request a modified supplemental amount and supplemental aid for this for our dropout prevention program. This is, for resources for maybe MTSS interventions or services for students who are at risk of dropping out of school. Oftentimes those funds can be used for your guidance counselor, your at-risk teacher, or programs that would help those students. And so we can request $102,587 for that.
Any motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Say no.
Need a roll call.
Roll call.
Zach Murphy, Rep.
Yes.
Tyler Aiken.
Yes.
Ray Hauser.
Yes.
Corey Robinson.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we've got some in. I think the second one's out though. Right?
Yes.
So for in, a lot of them are due to moves at this time of year, obviously, because open enrollment, it's not open right now. Kelsey Reed, from Colfax Mango, that was due to a move. That's a senior. Kenny and Dana Pogues for their children. There's 4 there. Also a move to a different district, so it opens up that process for them as well. Same with Rick and Ashley Kuchera for their children. And then a new one this one is new that was allowed out of the current district, like Carpenter for her daughter Lily. So those are open enrolled in ones. And then we have one out for Richard Smith Hart to the Iowa Virtual Academy. That's recommended by the board. And so the question might be as well, if it's closed, how can someone open enroll out right now? Because open enrollment deadline does not pertain to Iowa to online academies. So there is no deadline if a student wants to open enroll out to an online academy.
How's that work for the last one? Boundary.
Yeah, so you can be allowed out if there's cause. And so bond rate determined that there was cause, they applied and they were determined to have cause, and so they were allowed out.
They're at the mercy of the resident district to decide
Yep.
that.
We just need to prove the in.
And
And you approve the out. Not that you have any choice, but you still have to formally approve it. So
They changed that all
They
again.
did.
Living in the past.
Yeah.
Do we need to do them separate, like
Please.
in and out?
You can do
Yeah,
all the
all
ins
the
and then the out. Mhm.
So do we have a motion to approve all the open enrollment ends for the students listed?
I'll motion to approve all open enrollment ends.
Second.
Also fair and strong.
Aye.
We have a motion to approve the open enrollment out for the one student listed.
I'll make a motion to approve the open enrollment out.
Second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Rolled out. Approved. Okay. Personnel.
no pressing on facilities and house transportation.
Hey.
Now,
Nice, huh?
What's up first?
Barely think of something.
oh, well, a couple things in my own.
Okay. So we'll move on to Chris's report.
Okay, last year this time I presented a budget projection presentation. There's a link to last year's on there, so it gives you an idea. The general information will be the same for this year, but I will wait till the January meeting to present that. So it'll give you kind of some future projections based on some key assumptions that Julie and I work on and create. We attend a couple of conferences every year as part of the CFPM model that we use to project our budget. So it's kind of a bit of a high level overview that I'll give, but I figured I would wait till we have a new board member appointed so that they can be a part of that, seeing that process as well and understanding some of that terminology. We get a little more in depth when we have our work sessions in March. So I left that on there so you can kind of take a look at it. And like I said, the general information about solvency and UAB doesn't change as far as the terminology goes, but you can see what the trend line was going into this year, and we'll have new graphs and data on there for you so you can see where we're at as we head into the next year. We've had some winter weather. I don't know if you noticed, but we started the year with 1,102 student contact hours. We've missed 4 now. So we're at 1098, so we have 18 to play with. Remember, we have certain Mondays in the spring that are earmarked in case we need to make up days. So we've got 4 Mondays that are earmarked on the calendar that was approved last spring to make those days up. Right now, we're okay, but it's not in January yet, so it'll be something that we'll stay cognizant of and make that decision when that time comes, or if that time comes. Corey and I met, and Julie and I met with Representative Dunwell again, like we kind of do annually. We got an opportunity to talk about some legislative priorities with him. I'm sure it's not a surprise that property tax reform is the #1 goal this year in the legislature. So it is highly likely that there will be some sort of property tax reform. Maybe on a bright side is I don't think there's going to be a high impact to schools. But also understand if we're talking about property tax reform and there's not an impact to schools, there's going to be an impact to somebody, which is probably going to be your local city governments. So we'll see kind of what happens with that and where that comes in. Another big concern they talked about was safety and security. So, you know, we kind of lobbied a little bit to maybe add additional operational sharing weighting to the SRO position. I remember that position's weighted at 2. There was legislation proposed last session to increase that weighting to 4. It did not go through. There was legislation proposed last session to allow management funds to be used for the SRO. That also did not go through. But they did increase overall operational sharing from 21 to 25. For reference, we are at 23. Okay. So if they were to increase the weighting of the SRO position, we would max out our operational sharing, which is good. So, you know, I'm hopeful. They tried to do a lot of things with that last year, and I thought maybe they tried to do a little bit too much, and that's why some of it was dropped. But I think I'm pretty optimistic that that'll be brought up again. And then obviously we talked about SSA. I know that's going to be a big concern, and there wasn't a whole lot of insight there. My biggest concern is if it is at 0%, obviously that creates hardships for school districts trying to budget, because a 0% increase in funding, we know that CPI or inflation isn't at 0%. So those will be things that we'll have to work around as well. Just sort of any questions on that, I guess, or anything you want to bring up from that I missed?
I just tried to reiterate with them, is like, you know, we talked about the management fund, you know, the management levy, and some schools maybe abuse that. And Chris pointed out, like, Julie was like, well, we pay our insurance. I mean, we don't bankroll.
Right.
So just because some schools are doing this, don't penalize the 95% of the schools that don't. And I'll just try to kind of remind them, you know, we're a small district, don't pay attention, you know, if you're making laws because the big districts are doing something, you got to remember the little districts too, you know. So hopefully, and he was very receptive about it, and I think he's easy to talk to, I guess, and understand. But again, he's one of not going to be down there that with laws. So I think one thing might be interesting too, I think I mentioned before, is like after the session, meet with them. And whatever they get, you know.
Well, we felt their communication went well. We'll see how well it went in May, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a good meeting with them. Like I said, we do it annually, and so it was good to have a conversation about some of the priorities for education. Reminder that we will have to move our January meeting up from the 21st to the 14th in order to meet the requirements of appointing new board members. Just want to put that in your head so you just get it on your calendar. At our a couple of upcoming presentations, or I don't know if presentation is the right word, but agenda items. Deputy Britt will update the board on our safety plan and those types of items at our regular meeting on January 14th. He has held an in-service with teachers, and we'll have some tabletop exercises prior to that meeting. So he'll give you kind of an update on where we're at with that response protocol. We will also meet as Jasper County superintendents and law enforcement officers the week of the 5th to talk about where we're at. Remember, the county is going to adopt kind of a unified system with the I Love You Guys framework for every school in the county, so it can be universal if they have to respond to any of the schools. We will also have a presentation in February from the Baxter Community Zach, help me out, and what's the title, the formal title of that group?
Visioning.
Committee, yeah.
Committee, yeah.
So the visioning committee will present some information at our February meeting, and they'll be put on the agenda for that as well. And then probably shortly after the start of the new year, we'll send out a 4-day instructional week survey again. We did kind of a temp check at the end of the first quarter. We'll have something out at the end of the semester as well. Temp check came back about 85% positive response rate, but we'll send out a little more in-depth survey where we'll allow some comments and things of that nature. That's all I got. Any questions on that?
Because I don't have any questions on the stuff you just went over. I did want to ask, based on something you sent in your Sunday email. I don't know why, maybe I just haven't stewed on it for too long, but it just hit me is that the fact that I guess Zach, I'll drag you into this one too, you and Chris, just kind of curious how I know you said we were going to send out a letter on fans we've had, I guess, 3 fans now get ejected.
Yeah.
I don't know why, that just bugs me. Just not even as a board member, just as a community member, a parent, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, maybe what I'm asking is, have we thought about, or have you guys talked about taking it one step further and not penalizing the child, but penalizing the parent? You know,
Yeah.
like if I kind of feel like, and this is my thought, is I'm guessing if a kid got kicked out of a game or something, they'd probably be on the bench for a couple games. I don't know what the rules are, but
There's high school rules.
Yeah.
About ejections,
Let's
yes.
set a game.
So
Yeah.
my thought is, you know, do we send a message like that to the parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, whoever, if they're tied to that child, you know, saying, I don't know. I'm just curious. Like, I don't think just sending a letter, that's just done and called for. I mean, it's just everything around that is wrong. I mean, it sends a horrible message to our kids, everything. I mean, you know, I don't know. I know everybody in this room knows this. I'm preaching to the choir here. I want to see us actually nip it in the bud and say no more of that through Baxter, period.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, you know, we've had some discussions on what that looks like and conversations around with officials contacting Zach and myself of, and that'll come out when we send something out. It's gonna be harder and harder for us to get officials willing to work here. And it's kind of putting a black eye on the reputation of our sports programs as well.
Mhm.
And we've had that discussion of, you know, because we have had some instances that have elevated themselves too, saying, hey, you're not welcome back here anymore. And so I think you have to deal with that to an extent on an individualized basis, kind of depending upon the details or surrounding it. But I think you're right, and I know we've had that conversation is, you know, next steps for this is you're just not, we can't have this type of behavior and you know, you're not gonna be welcome at games.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to get through to them because it's like
Yep.
parents there's no reason to lose your mind at a high school, anything.
Or
Junior high
junior high.
or
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
certainly don't want that reputation.
no. And I know you guys are working, I just wanted to, like, I would support from a board member standpoint, I support you if you want to take it one step further, yeah, you know, and like not even allow these people back into a game for a certain amount of time. Like, I think we have to do something to get through to people.
I'm with him. I just think if your kids are gonna pay the repercussions for being an idiot out there. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right?
But hopefully it just stops, but
Right.
can't help themselves sometimes.
Yeah, that's the hard part. If the kid is just playing and those parents yelling or whoever's yelling, it's like, the kid didn't do anything. So you can't do anything with the kid.
No, yeah, I don't want to, it's not, yeah.
Like I say, it's a case by case.
Right.
Thing. Yeah.
Point. Anything else? Zach, I meant to ask you on your part of it, did you get all the donations you guys needed for the trade and everything?
Yes.
Everything's taken care of?
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Now we're just waiting for it to all come in, but.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Good.
Motion adjourned.
Yeah, take a motion again.
I'll second that, why not?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Either. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.